Please join me to invoke the name of teacher 3 times before we go to Dhamma talk. Namo Sakyamo Ni Buddha. Namo Sakyamo Ni Buddha. Namo Sakyamo Ni Buddha. Today I continue about the perfection, the paramitas, the fifth perfection of the paramitas, the concentration. It's a very difficult subject. You know, we have different school, different way to practice concentration. Like the people, they practice the Pure Land. What they use, this is the chanting, Namo Amitabha, and the visualization. The people, they practice the Pure Land. They believe, they have a faith in Amitabha Buddha. So they visualize the Western paradise. So they see the perfection of that paradise, and they dream they go there. Or they chant it, they chant Namo Amitabha. So they use the sound. And you know that when you do the chanting, you chant it, you hear your own voice, you concentrate it. And it's a form of concentration. It's difficult, but it's feasible, okay? If you hear your own voice and it becomes one, the voice and you hear it. And or visualization. You visualize and you live so long, so much, you have a faith. It's not a blind faith, it's intelligent faith. And you see it, you visualize it. It's real, okay? Like for example, in real life, okay? You have the couple, husband and wife, they love each other very much. And the husband, he goes to the front, he's in the service, and he get hurt, and he die. And the wife at home knows already. They have a communication, telecommunication, like she visualize it. So when the army come to announce it, that, oh, we come to tell you the bad news. She said, I know already. I see him. He got hurt and he died. He said, how that? I said, telecommunication, visualization. And so it's real, like something like a mother and children, the same thing. But the love, they have communication. Like the one, I see one time, it's real. One twin, a perfect twin. They're very close to each other. One guy go out play. He hits his head on the tree. The guy at home hurt his head. He said, what do you do? You hit your head? I said, yeah, I heard it. Because I have a pain. So they have that. They have a communication. That's a form of concentration. So another method they use it in meditation, Zen meditation. They use the riddle, the koan. It's a form of a question. They have no answer. It's not really a good question. Expect the answer. But the riddle, like something, it doesn't make sense. It makes you have to think over and over. Like for example, tell me your original face before your parents are born. So how you know your face before your parents are born? So the question, they have no answer. Or said, the sound, one hand, okay? You had the sound, one hand had the sound. So it doesn't make you didn't have answer, but what it does, it make you think. And you teacher, they give that question. Doesn't mean that you make difficult for you, but it just make you think. The more you think, the more you concentrate it. A form of concentration. So, in concentration, you go against the distraction. You focus it. You have a lot of distraction. They have noise distraction. They have color distraction. And they have some expectation. You think about something to expect something. You expect like your wife cook for you a good meal, dinner, something. Some expectation. It distract you. Concentration. So you learn how to concentrate. You focus it. And if you focus well, you concentrate it. Have one point concentration. You learn how to use it and focus it. And yesterday, I talked to Master Quang. He said, I know you've been teaching meditation. Do you experience yourself? He said, yes. I said, the best thing to do, you have to experience it. Because you don't experience it, you cannot teach it. So when you're teaching Dharma something, you have to practice it. Okay? All the Dharma teacher, they practice for years and years. The more they practice, the more they understand it. It's not intelligent, it's not conceptual. It's more or less intuition. It's more or less, they experience it. I learned it because many of my professors, I learned from them. It's not the verbal teaching. Sometimes the body teaching. Sometimes something you see, you don't know it. Like I admire one of my professors. He's very humble. He's an excellent teacher, excellent professor. He's a chairman of Department of Anatomy. He's a cardiac surgeon, vascular surgeon. He talked very little. I learned from his lecture, from his attitude, from his example. For example, he cares for his job. He's an excellent doctor. He doesn't have a private practice, so he's very poor. He dedicates all his time about teaching, about show us how. And he go to hospital, I admire him. He go to bathroom. He clean the bathroom of himself. And he put a sign, please get close, that then drip you on the floor. And he cleaned it, he signed his name. Everybody laughing, but I admire it. And he does everything. And he teaches by the body teaching, by the example, not the talking. He never blamed anybody. One time I remember when he was in the first year, one of my classmates, he's very arrogant. He come from a very rich family. At that time we were very poor. I go to school with an old bike. He go by school with a brand new vehicle. His father is chairman of the Chamber of Commerce, very rich. He have a fancy apartment, have a car and everything. He come to house and make round. And the professor, the one I admire, he dressed very simple, he go in that. So that guy, he's stop that. Who are you? Very arrogant. Yes, sir. He didn't say anything. I am the president of the class. I am Mr. So-and-so. Very bright. He said, sir, I'm Nguyen Hữu. He didn't say I'm a professor Nguyen Hữu. I'm the chairman of the, I'm Nguyen Hữu. I'm working here. Later on, he find out that the man is a professor. He's the chairman. He's the famous professor. He gets so scared. The second year, he's kicked out. Then the professor didn't kick him out. He didn't pass the exam, anything. He don't study, he's out. Automatically, he's out. And we laughed, we said, he talked to the professor, the one everybody admired. He's an example, he's like our father. He want to teach us. So, that thing's a thing, you learn it. So I talked to Master Quang Chi, I said, so when you teach, meditation or Dharma teaching, do you experience it yourself? He said, yes. I said, yeah, you need to experience it. You need to do it. That way you can help your member, your student. If you don't experience it, it's difficult to convey it. Okay? And that's the way, like in the Zen tradition, they said they don't teach by verbalism, transfer direct from teachers to students. Like Buddha, he's the first one, he teach Mahakasyapa. He just had the flower, and Mahakasyapa look at flower, they smile, and they communicate, they have direct transmission from Buddha to him. And from that tradition come in. So when Bodhidharma, he's an Indian monk, he come to China. So when he go to China, the second patriarch is a Chinese man. He's already famous because he's a Dharma teacher. So when he see Bodhidharma tell him, you know nothing. Why you teach Dharma? The second patriarch, he gets so mad, he punched Bodhidharma in the face, break his front teeth. Bodhidharma didn't say anything. He swallowed the teeth and he left. He go to the temple. He formed the temple. He get in the world there. He meditate. And later on, the second patriarch, which was a famous monk, he was so scared. He ran after. He go to look for Bodhidharma. He said, please calm my mind and teach me. He said, I have nothing to give to you. What you want? I give to me. So the second prayer, he gets so worried. He get his sword out. He chopped one of his hand off. He said, you see my determination. He knelt down. He said, please calm my mind. So Bodhidharma tell him, show me your mind. I calm for you. So the second patriarch awakened. He know that he have to calm his mind himself. He have to do himself that. And he become his student and learn from him from that time. And that's a direct transmission from the Bodhidharma to him. He understand that. You understand? It's not verbalism. It's not the talking. It's a direct transmission. So I talked to Master Quang. He said, when you want to teach it, you need to experience yourself. Because I remember my teacher when I was in Australia under his instruction. I admire him. He didn't talk much. Very little gesture. But I see him, he's so kind. He's so generous to all of us, his students. He didn't talk that much. I remember he loved to plant on the tree. I have one young monk. He gave him the job to water the plant. We have a lot of plants. So that young monk, he's lazy. So he wanted to do it on purpose. He do it, he water, but he used water right on the plant, like he hurt the plant. So my teacher didn't say anything. He said, let me do it. So from that time, he said, I do it. Okay? So we go out, water very gently. So I see that instead of scolding the student, he didn't scold him. He said, let me do it. So he do it. He take over. He do it every day. And one time I go, it's a big temple. He come to me, he hold my hand. And he go back with me to his quarter. I'm so impressed. I feel the hand, I feel the love, I feel the transmission, I feel what he want me to tell me. I admire it. So I learned that I assimilate more because the love, the one he showed me, how much I need to pay attention, how much I need to try to learn. And it's simple. So that the concentration is extremely difficult. You have to practice yourself. Nobody can show you, okay? Something, we cannot use the verbalism to show it. It by the gesture, it by the example. You have to find out. In Buddhism, a lot of things you cannot learn really. You have to experience it, okay? Like a Buddha, he said, if you don't understand me, that is a lack of respect. You have to understand me. It's not bowing to me. It's not saying Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. That means you practice Buddhism. That means you pay respect to me. No. You need to respect yourself. You need to practice. You need to understand the Dharma. If you understand the Dharma, you understand the meditation, you communicate directly with our teacher, Sakyamuni Buddha. That's the way we practice it. That's the communication. That's the meditation. That's the concentration. It's so precious. It's a wonderful thing. We cannot talk. We have to experience it. So I tell Master Quang all the time. I tell him, I admire you. You spend a lot of time to study. You read a lot of books, but you have to experience it yourself. If you don't experience yourself, you cannot teach. You cannot convey it. Like all my life, when I study medicine, I learned from my professor by their action, by their example. It's not the lesson. The lesson, you can open the textbook, you cannot learn it. But the things they teach you, that's the example. I found I have one professor, he's a wonderful professor. I asked him something, he told me something, I admired it. He said, I don't have a correct answer. Let me go back next day. I learn more, I read more, or I consult my colleague. I give you the correct answer tomorrow. He didn't falsify, he didn't say that. He's a professor, he's well-known. He can give me anything he wanted. I have to accept it. No, he's very honest. It's the probity, we call it intellectual probity, or the integrity of his mind. He didn't say it. He did not hurry to tell me. He can hurry because he's a professor. He's much higher than me. He can tell me anything he wanted. He said, no, let me go back. I read a little bit more, okay? Or I consult my colleague. I give you the answer, better answer tomorrow. I admire him. And a lot of the professor, when he go to do surgery, the way he handle the instrument, I know how careful he is. He handled and when he finished that, he gave back to the nurse who take the instrument. Keep it, he said, keep everything in order. You have to count it. I want you to count everything before surgery, after surgery. You have to do the good count. And he paid attention to that. He's an excellent surgeon, not like somebody in a big shot, go in there, do pop, 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 go out, doesn't care about it. He does care. He's a very well-known professor, well-known, but he does it carefully, meticulously. So he gives us an example. That's the way we learn. It's not the technique. That's the whole thing. That's the concentration. That's the one I learned. I learned from him that way. So in Buddhism, that way, pay attention and learn carefully, because if you care about Dharma, Dharma is so pretty, how we understand it, and how we can apply it to our own life. Then misunderstand the Dharma. That's the mistake, the big mistake. They said, you can respect Buddha, but if you misunderstand his teaching, or you distort his teaching, that's a mistake. It's a big mistake. That is disrespect for him. Okay? And respect for ourselves, because we don't study carefully. If you want to study carefully, that you respect to yourself and respect to our teacher, Sakyamuni Buddha, because he teaches us the correct way, the good way. So we have to learn the correct way. And when we learn the correct way, we can transfer our learning to all the person. Okay? If we don't learn correctly, we cannot transfer it. We make mistake. Everybody make mistake, but correct the mistake. Then repeat the mistake over and over. That's the bad things. If we repeat the mistake, that's the repentance. Repentance is that, we acknowledge we make the mistake, and we promise ourselves we don't repeat that mistake again. That's the repentance. It's not a confession. It's not like somebody blame you, but you just say that, I know that I weak in this one, so I acknowledge that I make the mistake, so I have to correct it. Next time I do better. I don't repeat the mistake again. That's the repentance. So concentration, you learn to concentrate. Different technique, different school, they have different way to practice concentration. Every method, they have something very difficult. You have to practice to see it. You can practice the Pure Land way, you can practice the Zen way of concentration. Different school, different way. But they have the methodology, how to do it, how to progress it. That's the concentration. I hope that I can give you a little bit information about concentration, because I have to practice myself concentration. It's so difficult. It's so delicate. But we have to try. Both of us, all of us, we need to try. The more we try, the more we get better concentration. We can focus better. We focus better. The benefit, balance body and mind. And the benefit, the concentration can help you a lot of physical problem, a lot of sickness. The concentration can help you. Okay? That the side effect, that side benefit of concentration. So it helps you. And if you focus, you can work better. Anything you do, you can study better. You can do your job better, your concentration. Like you can drive better too. That's the form of meditation. If the people, they really concentrated, everything they do is better, because they pay more attention, they focus better. So that's the side effect of concentration. That's my talk about concentration today. I hope that you go home, you can read more about concentration, think over the concentration, and then can apply that, and it helps you. It helps you to focus better. It helps you to balance mind and body. It helps you focus what you're doing. Everything you do is better. Even if you cook, you do the cooking, you focus, better cooking, better things. I have one friend, he's own doctor, okay? He built his house, a good house. His wife, she cooking, she talk on the phone, burn the whole house. He's very sad. He said, now I cannot do it. I didn't have money to build another home, so now they moved to the apartment. lack of concentration because she talked and she cooked, then pay attention, burn the whole house. So everything you can benefit from concentration, from focusing. Okay? That's all I can talk to you today about concentration. If there be any question, I try to answer the question about the concentration. If we have no question, we transfer the merit, we go chanting. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Any positive coming action we accomplished today, you want to transfer it, and wish them the enlightenment.